Welcome to the Erie Wellness Podcast, your go-to source for all things health, wellness, and living your best life right here in Erie. I'm your host, Lauren Brunetti, and I'm so excited to have you here. Each episode will dive into conversations with local experts and wellness professionals who are making an impact in the world of health and well-being. Before we jump in, be sure to like, share, and comment on this episode. We love hearing from you and seeing our community grow. Now let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Erie Wellness Podcast. It's currently late August. Back to school season is officially here, and we are savoring those last summer evenings while also starting to look forward to fresh routines, the fall colors, and even the holidays that aren't too far away. I am really excited to have Heidi Smith on the podcast today. She's worn a lot of hats over the years: lifestyle coach, personal trainer, triathlon coach, fitness instructor, and now a menopause specialist. And what I love about Heidi is how she blends her background as a competitive athlete with more than 20 years of nursing experience in cardiac care. She's taken all of that and turned it into this amazing passion for helping people, especially women, feel their best. Whether it's through retreats, workshops, or one-on-one coaching, she brings so much to the table. And beyond all of that, Heidi just gets it. She's a wife, a mom, and she knows what it's like to juggle family, work, and trying to take care of yourself in the middle of it all. She has such a down-to-earth way of helping people find balance, and I think that's something we all can relate to. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you for having me.
So you've done so many things: cardiac nurse, trainer, triathlon coach, speaker, and now you're getting into menopause or perimenopause. Looking back, what was the spark that really pulled you into health and wellness in the first place?
Back when I moved here, almost 20 years ago, I came here to do triathlon coaching. And while I was doing that, I had this sense of wanting to blend the health background I had with the training, and also realize that there's a lot more to a person than just the numbers in the labs, just the speed at which they run. So I took on a life coaching certification to get really down to how to balance out a person as a whole and not just those external numbers and performance markers. So it's been really fun for me to do the coaching certification, and life coaching was really an eye-opening experience for me, working on some of the mindset and the motivators and what grounds us in a certain person and drawing that out. So I really incorporate a lot of that in my coaching, because true motivation really does come from the inside of a person. So we could draw that out is the most powerful way to really keep those habits that we start.
One thing that came up as I was starting to research and prepare for this podcast episode was this constant question that people have is why do I need someone else to hold me accountable? And shouldn't I be able to motivate myself? When you look at clients or patients you've coached, what do you think really helps them stay motivated?
Yeah, well, I think the really powerful thing about coaching is many people don't have a clear picture of what to do and how to do it. So
Mhm.
in the coaching relationship, you're going to figure out what to do, because a lot of people have, a confirmation bias, meaning, okay, I've done this 10 times and it's failed. you know they're discouraged. And so when you come into that coaching space, there's a couple really big things that it does for you, not only in your mind but also even in your hormones and your feedback systems in your body. So coaching, I mean, number one, you're going to have a positive reinforcement and someone to witness your journey. So
Mhm.
you're going to come to them and you're going to celebrate with them. You're going to talk about roadblocks, what went right, what didn't go right. And the personalization of it is what works for you can be completely different for some people than other people. So that's a huge piece in being a witness and helping with that motivation. And research shows that that's a positive reinforcement in the neural pathways.
Mhm.
So that strengthens and validates the actions that you're taking. So you may try a new program for a week and you're like, oh, that was hard. But you're not sitting back and you're not saying, How are the steps I'm taking? Did they fit me? Are they rewarding? What successes did I have along the way? So you're taking that piece into time to acknowledge it. And
Mm-hmm.
the other piece too, your brain is also the planning center is I'm assessing this. This is a rational choice. So it's not only my body and my neural pathways are like, oh, this is good. This is what my brain is getting used to the idea of this is positive reinforcement, but also you're like, oh, this makes sense. I've
Mm-hmm.
chosen something that I value. So we always go back to that why and why is it valuable? We start off our coaching session making sure that it is a valuable action step you're doing with intention.
You talk about decision fatigue and friction points. So, what are some tricks that you share to help people cut down on the overwhelm and actually stick with healthy habits, like preparing that meal at 6:30 at night when you're tired, or waking up at 5:45 in the morning because you've told yourself that you're going to work out?
Those are great examples. And perhaps one of the two biggest reasons why we can't follow through or fail to follow through is that we have the friction points and the decision fatigue. Now, there's two particular times of the day. I'm going to use an example of, let's say, Susie and Jen. Let's take two examples and use some of these strategies and see what it looks like to take away the friction and the decision fatigue. So, say Jen is getting up in the morning to work out. She rolls into bed after watching a long movie and she knows she's got her alarm set. But
Mm-hmm.
when she wakes up, she realizes she's very tired. She doesn't know what she's going to wear. She's not sure if she's going to eat something or not sure where her keys are. And man, it doesn't sound fun right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take Susie, who she's set out all of her clothes. Her shoes are by the door. Her teapot is ready to go. She's got a banana and some almonds sitting on the counter, and she's prepped not only her stuff but her brain. This is what I'm doing in the morning. So when she wakes up, she doesn't have the resistance of setting her things out, making the decision to wake up, because her mind is already knows this is the plan and this is how it's going to go. So she wakes up and she just stacks her habits. First, she gets up, she gets her clothes on, brushes her teeth. If you're a toothbrusher, I personally am like, before I do anything, I brush teeth and drink a glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, as a stack, your water is right next to your toothbrush, like mine is. I brush and I drink my water and take my vitamins first thing before I even leave my bedroom. So she leaves her bedroom and she has her banana and her almonds, grabs her keys. She's got a good outfit on that she knows she's going to be comfortable. She's got maybe her playlist all queued up. She knows where she's going to go. She's got everything planned in her mind, and only both her mind and her body know that's going to happen. So you can see how that planning piece really is effective in setting yourself up for success. Similar in the evening. So, say back to Susie again, she's planning. She actually made some chicken breast on the grill last night and she has it for a couple days. And her choices are she can have a salad or some stir fry. So, when she gets home, she doesn't have to start from scratch. She has
Mm-hmm.
everything queued up. And now let's go on again a little more and use some cueing that helps her move past decision fatigue and general fatigue. She's going to have a bubbly water with her. She's going to be on a podcast she's listening to or some music she's listening to, and she's going to get her comfy clothes on when she gets home from work. So all those things just take the ease off. You have cues in there. Every habit has a cue. That's how our brains work. We're cue action, reward. And so for these two situations, Susie really has served herself well, and it's going to be a lot easier. Now, if you look at our chemistry, it makes total sense. So we have these two hormones, melatonin and dopamine. Now, dopamine is kind of the get up and go, and melatonin is the rest and go to sleep kind of hormone. So, in the morning and in the evening, that's when those two jobs are being switched. In the morning, your cortisol is coming up to help you wake up and your melatonin coming down. Very hard to make decisions when you are not fully awake. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then at night, the opposite happens where your melatonin is creeping in and your dopamine is going down because your body is going to be ready to rest.
Those are all good examples. And I can also think about, if Susie decides not to work out, but yet she sees all of these things already set up, like her mindset's going to be like, why couldn't I do this? Like I have like look at my bananas and my almonds. There's my clothes. Like I literally had it all laid out and I chose not to do it. But, when you do get up and everything's in line, you're like, "Oh, it's so much easier just to get it done."
And truthfully, I mean, willpower is pretty much garbage because we cannot rely on it. And that's why habit is so important to our bodies. 50% of our habits are automatic. Of the things we do throughout the day, 50% we don't think about. So the more that we can cultivate these automatic staple habits, exercising every morning, you don't think about it, you just do, the easier it's going to be on our system, on our mindset, and then on the reflection looking back, hey, we just did it.
When a client says to you, like, well, how long is it going to take for me to establish this habit? What do you tell
That all depends. That
them?
all depends. I know the 21 day. Um, if your goal is to, you know, take your vitamins, like I mentioned, when you brush your teeth, well, we can do that in one night. We could even
Mhm,
go to the extent of I'm going to set an alarm. I'm going to tape it to my toothbrush, done. If you're talking about a longer, I can tell you this, I can say that the first step, you can have 100% success tomorrow morning. The
mhm,
first step is showing up. That's it. You're not doing anything. You are just showing up. And that is 100%. If you show up, that is success. And I think some things that people don't really realize is that a very small habit can have a huge ripple effect. So say your only goal, like I mentioned, tomorrow morning, that is our success. You're going to wake up and put your shoes on. That little bit of confidence is going to give you more momentum for the day. You woke up, you did it, and as you add little steps, it's going to not only affect your relationships, your sleep, like I mentioned, your confidence, and there's all these ripple effects that just propel you into where you don't even realize you can find yourself at this
mhm,
place, this goal that you didn't know that you could get there. I mean, I have a client right now that her ripple effect has affected all of those around her. She is all across the board sleeping better, losing weight, eating better, energy better, work performance is better. And although not every, I mean, we work through barriers, but the idea is that that momentum builds and people underestimate the power of a small habit.
mhm, mhm. I was
Mhm.
just talking about this with someone yesterday and about exercise in particular and how it does make you show up as a better parent, as a better spouse, better at work, and just overall better person. When you just feel better, you do better, right? So I love how you explain dopamine as that little nudge that drives us to act. How can someone use that science like habit or reward pairing to create changes that really stick?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, when you start a new habit, you really need to just kind of hack the brain and tell the brain, the subconscious, that this is a good thing. You want this. A lot of times, what we use is pairing with sensory things. I
Mhm,
mentioned the person who's cooking dinner has a comfy outfit on, maybe lights a candle, is talking to their best friend on the phone. So it's her special time. It's not only I'm doing this chore, but it's creating a special time for that person. Now, take working out, for example, we had that person who had that breakfast. Well, she's got a cozy outfit on that she really likes. She loves her gym, and afterwards, she hops in the sauna. She has time,
mhm,
right? Or she has this new protein shake that she knows is really healthy for her, and it's got some collagen, all these things. Like, there's a lot of things that we can do. And then afterwards, here's the piece that people often miss. They rush off to the next thing. Like, how do I feel? Do I feel energized? Do I feel those endorphins? Take a minute, take a breath of fresh air outside. Now, for example, when we exercise, there's so many intrinsic rewards, such as the parasympathetic nervous system being engaged through the breathing, the rhythmic breathing, any exercise you get your heart rate up with, you're going to have a rhythmic breathing, and that's going to automatically stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system. And so you're going to move from the sympathetic, which is the activity. And when you're done, that parasympathetic is going to calm as if you'd had, 10 minutes of deep breathing meditation.
Mhm.
Also, friends, if you go to the gym and you're with friends, man, it was great to catch up with Jennifer. And like, I think acknowledging a lot of the reward is found in reflection. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, that was such a hard workout. I did it. This is amazing. I can't believe I accomplished that.
I was even
So,
thinking, like, bringing in gratitude. Like, my body is amazing. Like, this is just kind of romanticizing your, like, whole entire day and your life and,
absolutely.
like, really finding the joy and gratitude in all of it. And when you actually pause and, like you said, reflect, you're like, wow, that's amazing. And there's so many amazing things that you can think of throughout your day as long as you're being intentional about thinking about it.
I totally agree. I mean, for me, the rewards personally for me, coming from a background of high stress in college and bit of anxiety, I exercise is my escape. Like, I've got my music. I just go. My body knows what to do. It is my time. I've got my breathing. Nobody's awake. I get back and I am ready for the day. So again, that cueing, that constant pattern I've created where for me, it's an automatic. For me, it's what I call a staple habit. So I encourage people to say, okay, you've got all these things you want to work on. You want to work on your diet. You want to work on exercise. What is your staple? Is it move your body for 10 minutes every day? Like, what
Mhm.
is your staple that is non negotiable? Maybe it's, I want to get protein with lunch. Have a couple of things that really ground you and that are non negotiable. So that's a
Mhm.
great way to get those rewards going too, because you see yourself being steady and, confidence builds through that.
Mhm. So, Heidi, you're a wife, mom, coach, athlete, and more. With so much on your plate, how do you personally keep from burning out?
Yeah, for me, I have a ton of variety in my life. And studies even show this, like, in order to prevent burnout, change is really helpful. And you can do that in small ways, driving different routes to work or going, sitting different places for lunch or, sitting outside instead of inside. For me, I have a lot of different hats I wear. And so that keeps me fresh, keeps me on my toes. And two other pieces that I think really excite me is creativity. So when
Mhm.
I do my playlist, when I teach my classes, that's like my super fun time when I'm in my music. It's super creative. I'm, making workouts for my clients. Um, Coaching is very creative and it keeps me fresh. And I feel so far from burnout. I'm so excited. And the last thing is, having those staple things. I'm a morning worker outer. I do believe that there are pros and cons to mornings, and there's pros and cons to afternoons. The moral of the story is do what's right for you. For me, the staple things I do, a couple that come to mind are in the morning, my workout. Sometimes I'm tired, I do it anyway. Sometimes I have 30 minutes, I do it anyway, and it's done. Now, the evening, when I come to my kids, our staple is tuck in time. I tell them I'm going to tuck you until you leave the house because that is our time together. So I have long tuck ins. I know that that is my staple. And over time, you look at these 15 to 30-minute blocks of investment one on one focused on your kids. That's a perfect example of growth over time from small habits. Even if it's 5 minutes over time, that builds. And you can see how it's exponential as your
Mhm.
children grow and they know you're there for them. So those two things are probably two of the staples that come to mind for me. And I would say what goes when I run out of time? Well, I have to confess, it's going to be sleep.
Mhm.
And so I'm known to do power nights where I will, go a couple nights. When I started doing some analysis of my sleep because I was trying to figure out having some fatigue and wanting to rule out sleep. And so what it looked like, it was like 5, 6, 5, 7, 12. And so it's like overall, my average is 7. So, although not ideal, my question that I would ask anybody, in the creative coaching world, if I was coaching myself, how is it working for you? And you know what? It actually works pretty darn good. So, for me, like I wouldn't prescribe somebody to be like, just go for 5 hours for a week and then crash for 20. But it works for me. So, for me, the sleep, for better or worse, I catch up.
One thing too that I wanted, since you brought up your kids, I feel like you've been a wonderful example bringing in fitness into your life. And I believe you posted even about your son getting involved in fitness. Did he do a triathlon? Is that what it was?
He did, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel your kids over the years watching you work out and now implementing that? And I even think of, I have another friend who she's always been a trail runner and now her kids are in college and she's posting pictures about them just on the trail running. And that's a part of their routine now too. So what's your opinion about setting up a good example for your kids?
Yeah, I think you don't have to be an uber athlete. You just have to find that balance point where you're demonstrating that example. And the piece of it is that we go back to what is it doing for us? Exercise, for example, sharing with your family, with your kids, what does this do for me? Is it just hard work and that's it? But yeah, man, I feel good. I'm able to do all these things. So it's kind of a lifelong thing that we need to keep up and point out to our kids. Oh, I'm so thankful. Like I told my kids the other day, I had just a killer workout and for whatever reason, sometimes you just feel amazing. And I was like, guys, I just had a killer workout. I was with my tunes. I was pumping iron. I just feel amazing. Some days I don't always feel that way, but just show them that it feels good and there's rewards there is a really important piece. He did that triathlon and it was really fun for me because it wasn't about the intensity or the speed. It was just about moving the body. And that's what I teach my kids. Just move. Like that's all we got to do is move our bodies because that is the foundation of, resiliency in that physical realm of our bodies as humans. So,
I saw a post that said, I keep sabotaging my strength training because I don't have an hour to spend in the gym. What do I do? That made me think of your approach to habit pairing. How could someone use habit pairing in a situation like this?
hmm well, I would say, first of all, I wanted to touch base a little on self sabotage.
Mhm.
And this particular gentleman is using self sabotage of all or nothing. Either I do an hour or I don't do it at all.
Mhm.
So he's saying, I don't have an hour, I can't do it.
Mhm.
So I want to share like 3 of the interesting types of self sabotage. And of course, the habit pairing that can go along with the solution of those.
Okay.
So, all or nothing thinking is what he's doing. And it's this thought that if I have this lofty goal, I have to be perfect. I have to always work out. I have to hit the mark every time. And if I don't, then I'm not going to do it. So, and the way you're self-sabotaging, you're not going to make any ground because you're going to quit. And so maybe this is a pattern that you see. Sometimes all or nothing leads to, it starts off with, I'm going to do 75 hard. I'm going to do this crazy diet. And that is fatiguing if you try that multiple times in the all or nothing world. So habit pairing with, for this guy, I would start him off with, depending on if he's been to the gym before, I would have him put his shoes on. I would have him maybe go to the gym for 5 minutes and do 10 bicep curls, depending on how much resistance he has and how new this is for him and how much encouragement he needs and what his barriers are. We're going to do that in a stepwise fashion. And of
Mhm.
course, we're going to pair that with some positive reinforcements. We're going to come back and reflect on it. He's going to get himself some good shoes. He's going to fuel his body in the way that science has shown that helps us perform the best, feel the best, all these things to help him have a great experience, even from the get go. Hey, those 10 biceps were pretty easy. We start out pretty easy. And that is on purpose because we want that momentum. We want your body to start seeing yourself. Oh, I see myself. I'm doing this. And you see yourself again. You see yourself success. So that repetition is reinforcement for your brain.
Mm-hmm.
The other two ones I want to touch on, the fear of failure. So many people don't start because they fear failure. And that's a little offshoot of the all or nothing. And really, I think that in the coaching realm, it is a learning experience. So that what needs to happen in somebody who fears failure, they need to develop a growth mindset. So it's not about I have like this is definition of success. Success is defined on what you create it to be. So growth is success. Learning, messing up is a learning point, therefore it's success. So that fear of failure can be really combated from with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of them that is hidden that we don't even realize is the fear of success. Now, it goes right along with the imposter syndrome. So, like, I'm not really a gym rat. I go out and have burgers on the weekend. That's not me. So when we approach fear of success, and if I were to get there, what would that mean? I would have to uphold that lifestyle. So when I
Mm-hmm.
work with somebody who wants a huge shift, we have to work with some identity shifts. So again, as we repeat, going to the gym, it goes from I try to exercise to I'm an exerciser. It goes from I try to eat healthy when I can to I eat healthy to I'm a healthy person. Therefore, what our brain says is if I am a healthy person, if I am a positive person, then I will do things that support what I believe I am.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
gets a little bit deep into psychology, but it's good to know in coaching the background behind the psychology because that's a huge piece of coaching. It's not just telling them, here are your exercises, but it's really the true long-term success is more in depth and knowing kind of it's good for somebody to know, hey, I have a little bit of fear of failure. What does that mean? I have to uphold it. Or, hey, I even boundaries. Like that's one thing, like I can't say no to staying up late for movies, so I can't get up in the morning. So we can dive into some of that and really kind of flush that out. How are you
Mm-hmm.
feeling about that?
Mm-hmm.
What are your expectations? How does that impact you?
What is your suggestion to those people who are changing that identity, but maybe other people in their family are on board with all? Even one person that in the relationship is like, okay, I am now turning into a healthy person, and all of the habits that we once had are really not who I'm wanting to become. So, how do you help with that?
That is such a good question. I have a client dealing with that very thing right now. The culture she's in another state. The culture is such that eating out and boating and drinking is what her social circle is about. And so here she
Yeah.
comes with her carrot sticks and protein
Right.
shakes.
And her LaCroix.
Yes, and her LaCroix. And, she was at a place where she decided I need boundaries and it's their choice to accept me. Now, one thing that she's done in her life is she's got her husband on board. Hey, this really means a lot to me. This is my lifestyle change. You can do what you want to do, but sharing with others around you can be a super powerful motivator. And most of the time, you'd be surprised that people either one, admire the heck out of you, wow, and are inspired by you. And number two, like, man, I'm so glad I can drink LaCroix with her. Wow.
Mhm. Right, like,
Okay.
I've been wanting to stop drinking because I feel like crap as I head into Monday because 'cause we've been boating and drinking all weekend long, and actually, that's so refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're over 3 months in, and like it has been so fascinating to see her friends now doing walks with her. Her husband is now eating out half the amount of time. He's eating the food she's eating. And she's like, you know what she says? She's like, I don't like those anymore. Her palate has completely changed as we took out the processed foods. And those things don't taste like they used to. And that's the awesome transformation that you're going to see. That's another ripple effect. It's not
Mhm.
about restriction, it's about crowding in the good things And those other things, so if you maybe work out in the morning, you're like, I look forward to my workout. You know, that late night movie, which makes me stay up too late and I feel crummy the next morning. I'm okay with letting go of that because I've crowded out the bad habits with these great habits. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't work as much on getting rid of negative as I do bringing the positive, and the other stuff is going to take care of itself.
Right. So late night movies or even like scrolling, maybe people scroll on their phones
Mhm.
before bed, for example. Like what would you suggest for someone to do to kind of, okay, well, now I have 2 hours or maybe I only have an hour now that I'm going to say I'm going to go to bed early or something. But what do you add in that last hour instead of watching the movie?
Yeah, well, we would discuss that. You know, find out what makes them feel good. Maybe look at the big picture. Is there something that some way, some hobby, some thing that would help them feel enriched as a person? Maybe they do love the movie. Maybe they need to set an alarm.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
that's, or choose a
don't
movie
watch
that's
it
a certain
all.
time limit. Yeah, there's, different tricks to limit those things. Maybe when you're scrolling, how do what you see impact you? I would ask that, like, oh, I scroll and you know what? It makes me tired and I'm grumpy. So, okay. So what would do the opposite for you? What
Mhm.
is one thing in your life that you would like more of? We also talk about like energy gainers and drainers. That's like a big clue into what is impacting you and how it's impacting you. Is this a drainer or a gainer? Are you getting your energy
Mhm.
going up, or you're like, oh, that's bringing me down? So if that movie brings your energy up, it's all up to the client. But if it's draining you, then look at something that could be replaced with that.
Right. You're like, maybe instead of scrolling through everyone else's life, I'll scroll through my camera feed and be, look at all my blessings in life and
Oh,
like,
I love
like or something
that.
like that.
That would cue the gratitude. That
Yeah.
would be a perfect cue. At and every night I look at my pictures and I do gratitude. So that would be a perfect pair. I love it. See, you came up with that without.
Right now
See,
you
you're
can add
already. You're
that to your
just.
list of suggestions if that happens to fit with someone.
Yeah.
So, you have this 4-week menopause workshop starting in September. What inspired you to launch it?
There's a lot of women in our age group who are facing a unique transition in life, which is not commonly understood. There's kind of been a shift coming up here in more education to not only us as the patient, but also doctors. And so we're kind of bridging that gap right now in the literacy for doctors because the training kind of dwindled because they thought we can't do anything about it. And now research is diving more into lifestyle changes. You can get 50 to 70% improvement of the symptoms, the classic and the kind of out of the blue symptoms that they are now realizing are related to menopause. Everything such as anxiety, we hear about depression, the mood swings, the night sweats, the frozen shoulder, muscle fatigue. There's a lot of these things, sleepless nights, insomnia that are on the list,
Mhm.
that we find that different foods and how you eat them, the timing, the macronutrients, what kind of food they are, and some phytoestrogen foods can change your body chemistry.
What does
And
phytoestrogen mean?
it is foods that they mimic estrogen in your body. So they
Mm.
have protective mechanisms on all your organ systems. A lot of women don't know that in perimenopause, when your estrogen drops, the protection on things such as your cholesterol, your bone density, the brain fog piece, and your blood sugar, you don't have as much protection. So taking these steps, stabilizing the blood sugar, the healthy fats, kind of looking at that, and then, the proteins to preserve muscle mass can really completely change the outlook of how your body's going to go through this phase.
Mhm. Mhm. What is one myth that you would love to like debunk about this stage?
hmm The biggest myth I think that women have been told is that this is just part of aging, And you're going to have the belly weight. You're going to have the energy changes. You may have hair loss. And that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think women don't feel heard like they could feel heard. And there is a huge movement, even in the medical realm, to bring about more change, more proactive solutions for women so they can feel good and they're not going to deal with brittle bones down the road or heart disease, which is the leading cause of death in women. And a lot of it, as we age, that cholesterol, the LDL, the lousy, I say, cholesterol goes up, and that's related to the lack of estrogen, which is not protecting our cardiovascular system. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot we can do. And so I'm really excited for this population because we deserve to feel good. And there's real solutions that are scientifically proven that can help. And I've seen the transformations and I think it's amazing.
How are you breaking the 4 weeks up?
First one is going to be hormones and HRT. We have Vital Menopause, Stephanie. She's
Oh,
going to come. She's a nurse practitioner in downtown Erie. She's going to come and share everything on hormones. The
yay.
second one is going to be nutrition. We're going to have tasters at each week. So you're going to be able to try the phytoestrogen foods that are going to help your hormones, get a taste test of them every single week. And then we're going to dive into nutrition, not only macros, how much protein do I really need, but what is blood sugar stabilization? Should I do intermittent fasting? We're going to talk about like the micronutrients and give you recipes, food lists, and action steps with each week on kind of a homework action step so that that habit's going to start when you leave. You're going to have a habit already in place that you can start to stack on. The third week is going to be strength training, exercise in general. What kind of cardio should I do? Should I do the long stuff? Should I do the short stuff? How does
Mm-hmm.
cortisol relate to exercise? And how do I avoid high cortisol in exercise? Should I, consume sugar before I do my morning workout? Timing, all of that sort of stuff with strength training, cardio training, and really what's that minimum necessary of the heavy weightlifting or the intense training? How much time do I need? And you're going to leave with a sample workout. And again, the next day, you're going to have an action step.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth week is going to be stress, sleep, and cortisol. So we're going to talk about all those impacts on the body, how to improve your sleep. There's going to be different things called adaptogens, which help relax the body. We're going to have a list of that, and we're going to have some tasters for that as well. So it's going to be, my goal for it is to be educational. So you're going to have simple steps to walk away with, things that you can do on a practical level, and also some of the science behind it and some lists of references. So a little in depth for those who really want to know all the science behind it. I'm a science junkie. I love to learn all this stuff. It's like my hobby. So anyway, it's just going to be a great place. It's going to be at Simpson Coffee Cottage, very cozy little fireplace, safe place. You are accepted. Um, Open place for you to come, and we'll have a little bit of group work in there too. So I'm really excited.
Heidi, if you could leave every woman with just one takeaway from hearing you speak, what would it be?
I would say two things. The first thing I would say is have a ton of compassion for yourself. We are all growing. We are all on the spectrum of our wellness journey. And in that wellness journey, just know that little small habits have a huge ripple effect. So you may not do a conquer your every goal tomorrow, but what is one step that you can take? One step, put those shoes on, prep that chicken, whatever it is, to bring you a little bit closer to that lifestyle you want to have.
And for anyone listening who wants to learn more or connect with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Instagram is always quick and easy. I have a contact button on my website, HeidiSmithCoaching.com. HEIDISMITH, just how it sounds, coaching.com. If you have questions, I do free inquiry calls. So if you're like, I wonder if this is a fit for me, call me. We'll talk about it, see what kind of a package is a good fit for you, and go from there. Even with the workshop, if you have questions about that, feel free to message me anytime.
Alrighty. Well, Heidi, thank you so much for being a guest on the Erie Wellness Podcast. I hope that our conversation today just really inspired people, especially as we head back to school, just setting in those healthy habits, thinking about, how do we talk to ourselves throughout the day and what are some of our goals and really like establishing that vision of who we want to become. All right, friends, before we wrap up, here's the part I need to read to you. You know how it goes. This podcast is presented solely for educational purposes. I am just your friend behind the mic. I'm not a licensed therapist or doctor, and nothing you hear here is meant to replace the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you back here in the next episode. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Erie Wellness Podcast. I truly appreciate you being a part of this journey. If you loved today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. For more daily wellness inspiration and behind-the-scenes content, be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Erie Wellness Podcast. I can't wait to connect with you again soon.